Hello everyone, and welcome to the 14th rip-off episode of Analyzing Evil, featuring Barricade from Transformers Decepticons. Arguably the best written character in the entire history of Nintendo DS storylines, Barricade serves as an effective foil for the main character, Curator, and through him, we get to experience what it means to be a Decepticon. Now, if you've never heard of Transformers Decepticons, it was a video game released for the Nintendo DS in 2007, alongside the Michael Bay film. The game, while inventing its own story, does share a lot of elements from the movie. It also had a counterpart called Autobots, released the same day too. If you want to break down the story before getting into this video, there will be a link in the description to catch you up. What made Transformers Decepticons special was that it had quite a compelling story for its hardware. The game came out on the DS of all systems, and managed to be the best version of the Bayverse games, spanning from 2007 all the way to Rise of the Darkspark. While nostalgia plays its part, I think the developers at Vicarious Visions really outdid themselves with this game. So without further ado, let's begin. In the continuity of the DS game, we don't quite know Barricade's origin specifically. We can infer based on the story that Barricade was a skilled and higher-ranking Decepticon who joined Megatron and his cause at the start of the Cybertronian Civil War. As stated in the game itself, during the Battle of Tiger Pax, the Autobots launched the Allspark, the life-giver of all Transformers, into space, to where Megatron relentlessly pursued it, landing on the planet Earth and getting frozen in ice approximately 1 million years prior to the events of the game. By 2007, however, the Autobots and Decepticons have fully arrived to Earth, bringing their war with them, which is where we find Barricade at the start of this story. By now, Starscream has assumed command of the Decepticons as an unrespected leader. I think an important part of Barricade's character is that on top of his full loyalty to Megatron, he also genuinely values the Decepticon code. His disdain towards Creator is based on the fact that he was trained by Starscream, and inherited a lot of the ways Starscream operates. Starscream, from the perspective of Barricade, and by extension Blackout and Brawl, is seen as a coward and an ineffective and useless leader. And Barricade throughout the story is motivated to free and serve Megatron, because as he tells Megatron directly once he's freed, he remained their true leader despite being out of action for 1 million years. Barricade is the main force towards shifting Creator towards being a true Decepticon. And we see throughout the story that Barricade respects following the Decepticon code more than anything else. And it can be inferred that his loyalty to Megatron is based on this, because Megatron as the founder should be a follower of the code too. Except as one finds out towards the end of the game, he isn't. Barricade at one point tells Creator that Starscream's the type that would kill someone in their sleep, and Megatron would have the ball bearings to do it to your face. And he was right. However, it was in the worst way possible. I believe Barricade is a genuine follower of the Decepticon code, genuinely believed Megatron was the truest of them all when it came to Decepticon philosophy. The Decepticons traditionally in the Transformers lore believe that being a Decepticon is about being strong, and the strongest is worthy to lead, and weakness is not tolerated because weakness breeds fear, and fear makes every ally an enemy. Barricade followed that code to the end, and while the Decepticon code is deplorable in a lot of ways, the code also treats the Decepticons equally in a way, because the strongest is the one to lead, no one else, and if you can't keep up, you'll be discarded. Like Starscream, Megatron did not truly care about the nuances of the code. His true philosophy was to take everything because he wanted it, and use and discard everything along the way. Megatron was wholly ungrateful to the team that showed undying loyalty to him, and in fact saved his life. We can even see hints that Megatron doesn't truly care about his followers, but wasn't above pretending to. We see that Megatron, despite his ruthlessness, was charismatic, and Barricade, like many, were probably swayed by his speeches. So if Barricade ever had a flaw, it was that his loyalty to Megatron was misguided, as Megatron was not a follower of the Decepticon code despite being the one who made it up. Barricade likely came up with excuses for himself every time Megatron acted out of the code, and never realized that Megatron was not loyal to his own ideology. Creator was wholly unprepared for Megatron's betrayal, and Barricade could have never prepared him for it. Barricade, at the end of the day, was someone trying to steer Creator towards the right path, or as right as a path as you can go for a Decepticon, and he did succeed. But in the end, Barricade had misplaced his faith in Megatron as the founder of the code, and it ultimately led to Creator's downfall. Barricade was the purest Decepticon you could ask for. He believed in strength, in the code, and he understood it fully, and would die by it. That's why he was so responsible as a leader for the team he led. He knew how to handle Brawl's destructive nature and Creator's inexperience with the Con's philosophy. While he may have misplaced his faith in Megatron, Barricade was absolutely someone who was a realist. He warned Creator against pursuing Optimus Prime directly, telling him that many Decepticons lost their lives because they underestimated him. On top of that, he fully respected Creator when he converted his loyalty to Megatron, referring him deliberately with the title Decepticon. Barricade was clever, resourceful, and a good leader in his own right, and may have actually been the best leader for his faction in terms of adhering to the code. While these traits are admirable, it's still worth noting that he's still a villain, first and foremost. He was righteously cautious about trusting Creator, but also could have done a better job guiding him towards the right direction, at least in his eyes. He also, contrary to Bumblebee, holds no respect for humans, referring to them as savages, as most Decepticons would. However, Barricade does have some genuine honor, respects those who follow the Decepticon code, and even right before he died, he had wisdom to share with Creator, that now he sees what it is to be a Decepticon. And in my opinion, it's through Barricade that we come to understand the central theme of Transformers Decepticons. What it means to be a Decepticon. Being a Decepticon is about doing your duty to the strongest leader. And if you're the strongest, you must still do your duty to be the strongest leader. As Optimus Prime tells Megatron during their boss battle, all Megatron knows is destruction. He could never build an empire. So in the end, what does this leave us with? In my opinion, I'd say Barricade was a Decepticon at its fullest. He believed in strength and dominance, but also loyalty, especially to what he saw as the definition of the code, Megatron. It was misplaced, but you cannot blame him for putting it there if Megatron was indeed the founder. He did his duty to the very end, but in the end, it didn't matter. And Megatron was the only one who came out on top, free to conquer the universe without Optimus Prime and Starscream, with not a thought laid to those who helped him along the way. Ultimately, Transformers Decepticons is a unique story from the perspective of the villains, and goes far beyond what the original cartoon did at analyzing different characters who belong to the faction. And for a Nintendo DS game, that is pretty impressive. Keith David did an excellent job as Barricade, and alongside his mutual roles as Childs in The Thing, the Arbiter in Halo, and so on, I am happy he was cast as Barricade. Barricade is many things, but it's still important to note that despite his admirable traits, he still went down the path of evil. Thank you for listening to this episode of Analyzing Evil. What do you think of Barricade? Leave your thoughts in the comments below. I'm JJ Plagiarisms, and until next time, what are stories but mystery boxes?